What's a puppy?
So, like, as you can see, my presentation's on food addiction. So when you see this photo, how does it make you guys feel? Because it makes my mouth salivate, and I just crave all of it, honestly. And that's how honestly most Americans are. And like, I've talked to my husband about food addictions. I mean, I've never really like struggled with it. Well, I mean, as much as a normal person would. But he would always tell me that there's no such thing as a food addiction. Like, if you're hungry, you eat. If you're not, you just don't eat. And I don't know how to do that. Like, I see food and I just eat it, even if I'm not hungry. So that's kind of what gave me the idea to do this presentation, is to convince him that there actually is such thing as food addiction. So we're just going to kind of go over what it is and how it affects us, what causes it, and how people with it can get help and how to prevent it. So what is food addiction? So I found an article on the Medical News Today website. It stated food addiction refers to when the need to eat becomes compulsive or uncontrollable. The human body needs food to function, but food addiction is when a person becomes dependent on certain types of food. And that was written in 2017 by Tom Sawyer. So like, pretty much what it states is, it's just when you get to the point that you can't stop thinking about food. You eat it when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're feeling pretty much any emotion. And it can affect anyone. A lot of people think it's mostly just people that are obese, but they did a study in that article that 10% of people with food addiction was just a normal size. And that's normally how it starts. Because the more you eat, I mean, you're gonna become obese, but it's not just when you get obese, it's when you start having a food addiction. So in the Times magazine in November 2017, issued by Jeffrey Kloger, it stated, it talked about how food addiction is just like any other kind of addiction. Like 30% of people are addicted to heroin, 16% are addicted to cocaine, and that's out of everyone that has tried it. And 29% of people that are obese did a study, and they explained what it feels like to be addicted to something, and they described being addicted to food. They described feeling the same way that normal addicts do. Like I said, I haven't really struggled with it, but I have had times in my life that, like, I've gone on the crash diet, and then after a month or two, I just want to eat everything in sight, and all day long I think about food. So I feel like it is definitely a real thing, and that's kind of how it leads to it. Is you just start by eating these kind of foods like pizza, cheese, ice cream, chocolate, just the high saturated carb loaded foods, and then your body will just start craving it. So, sorry, this keeps freaking out. So, it's pretty easy to get addicted to food. All you have to do is eat foods that your body wants. And, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. All right, there we go. Okay. So stated in an article on virtua.org, it says consuming a high amount of those kind of foods triggers the pleasure centers of your brain and releases feel-good chemicals such as dopamine and serotonin. These foods affect the same areas of the brain as drugs and alcohol and behaviors such as shopping or gambling. To help you hang on to those good feelings, your body and brain will begin to crave highly palatable foods. And so pretty much like I said, that's just how it started. And then the problems with it is, like I said, you get overweight by eating lots of food, but then it can lead to a bunch of different types of diseases like type 2 diabetes and heart disease and breast and colon, kidney cancer, all that kind of stuff. And it affects more than just you. Like, once you go down that road, it could affect you with your family, like your relationship, because then maybe you don't want to go outside as much because you don't feel like it, you're feeling overweight and you don't want to go run around. It could affect you financially because then you're constantly buying food, or if you're starting to get these kind of sicknesses, that's going to cost a lot of money to take care of them in the long run. So how can you get help? if you know someone with a food addiction, or if you feel like you do, you need to become familiar with it and figure out what it actually is and how you feel if you have it, and know the signs to look for. When I was looking through this, there's a lot of awesome websites that you can go to, like the one at the bottom, the www.foodaddicts.org. So this website is literally like if you're an alcoholic, it's the same thing. There's a 12-step process how to cure food addiction. So if someone doesn't believe there's food addiction, why would someone put in that much effort and money into figuring out ways to treat people with food addiction? So in conclusion, I hope you learned a little bit about food addiction, what it is, how to treat it, and I challenge you, if you know someone, if you see someone that's just depressed, eating a lot, like they eat their feelings, or you're getting that way, just to help them out or figure out ways better to cope than with food, because there's a lot better ways. And so I just want to end with this quote, and it's, "We are addicted to our thoughts. We cannot change anything if we cannot change our thinking. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether it be nicotine, alcohol, morphine, or idolism." That's it.